Welcome everybody back to another NWA Talking Territories show, a very popular show that we've had over here in the UK with some of the new wrestlers that you'll be seeing. Some of them have been on NWA before, maybe briefly. We've got another Exodus Pro one today. It is Ashton Day joining us. Ashton, how are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you doing,
I'm
man?
very good, thank you very much. It's just was just talking off air. It is just settling down to darkness here in England after a very hot sunny day, and you mentioned that it's gloomy in Ohio.
Yeah, it's raining pretty good.
So we're used to rain in England, don't worry. We have to just obviously wish our co-host Fiona well. She's still suffering from coronavirus, so she's not on the show today. Or what I really
Yeah.
say is she's still mourning because Scotland got knocked out of the soccer championships just the other day. I haven't seen or heard from her since. So that's the excuse that I'm using for her not being here at all. But Ashton, thanks for joining us today. Very interesting about the NWA and the territories itself. How do you feel about sort of being an Exodus Pro and having that opportunity now to sort of get way through with NWA bringing back the territories?
Oh, it's been a game changer. It's been a game changer. I've never had as many opportunities as I have now, um, especially with a company like the NWA. Just to be affiliated with them is big end of itself. So um, I'm just continuing to work hard and hope that I get more and more opportunities with them to show what I can do to improve myself. But yeah, it's been wonderful. I can't say a single bad thing about being a part of this.
Yeah, excellent stuff. Obviously, you're part of Exodus Pro, which is certain EC3. You've actually fought EC3 as well, so I've seen on the grapevine or on the internet, as they say. How was that wrestling somebody with the knowledge of EC3? Because it's not just about getting in the ring with EC3. He is all up there as well because he's been on the show, so I know a lot about it. But he's all in there as well as in the ring.
Oh yeah, it was. I've never learned as much wrestling anybody than I did stepping into the ring with him. You know, it's one thing to train with him and to learn from him from a third person point of view,
Yeah.
but to be in and experience it firsthand. And I mean, it was really like, oh, this is what he means when when we're learning this, and then he's implementing it with me, firsthand. It's a totally different experience. And I think that was really the first time I was able to take a step back and uh, analyze myself from a TV perspective, I guess I would say, like to say, oh, this is I'm looking at myself and comparing myself to the person I'm working with, who is a multiple time world champion, spent upwards of 15 plus years on TV at the highest level, and here I am hanging with him, and this is the level that I want to be at.
Yeah, exactly. Very good level indeed. And I said with EC3, it's all up here as well with him. He's such good at not just great in the ring, he's good psychology. Before we get back to NWA, I do want to discuss briefly. You had a quick match on AEW Rampage as well. You were going against someone relatively big in Powerhouse Hobbs. What was your AEW experience like?
That was also a pretty wild experience, but it was very positive. It almost didn't happen. I kind of misread uh, the instructions for the COVID testing, and I got an at-home test. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear. Yep.
You froze a little bit on my screen.
Okay.
So I got an at-home test, but you were supposed to do one that gets sent to a lab, and
Ah,
I figured it out about 2 days before the show. So I immediately went and I scheduled an at-home or a laboratory test, and I got it done that day. And I got my results like maybe a half hour after we were even supposed to be there, like the latest they would take people. And I just said, screw it. And I got in my car and I drove. I didn't care if I was late. I called them from outside the Wolstein Center and said, "Hey, I'm here. I'm outside." So, and they let me in, and I got to be a part of the show.
Interesting wrestling powerhouse. I mean, it was only about, I think it was about a minute, wasn't it? The actual match, from what I recall. I remember watching it. Wrestling someone like him, very powerful, very impactful guy, even just for that minute. Did you learn a lot in that, even in just that 1 or 2 minutes that you had in that ring as well? That also sort of kind of as much as, not say as much as you learned with VC3, but again, television, cameras, positioning, and all that stuff.
From a production standpoint, absolutely. Just learning where to place yourself, um, knowing where your cameras are. Um, I made sure to sell to a camera, like when I took that first clothesline from them. And these are things that I wasn't really told, but it was more so like just observing the environment once I got into the ring, and it was just, man, it was very surreal. And um, he was definitely not he was definitely stiff with me, but um, that's another thing I learned is like, hey, if you're in there with somebody for 45 seconds, a minute, and your job's to make them look good, I can handle a beating for 45 seconds to a minute.
Yeah.
He definitely any punches, but I think he looked like a star out there.
It certainly did. Well, you certainly made, you done your job. That's what you got to do, isn't it? When you're there and they give you that, you've got this, do that, you've done it, and he looked $1 million for it. So you certainly done what you needed to do. But let's go back to
Yeah.
NWA. Obviously, it is Crockett Cup season right now. When you're working in Exodus Pro, and obviously there is an opportunity to go up to NWA, that whole lineage of that company is just, it goes, I mean, celebrating obviously 76 years this year. You look at something like the Crockett Cup and you look at something like the 10 pounds of gold that EC3 holds. Is it also the prestige of that company that makes you want to climb that ladder because you know what has gone before you?
Absolutely. It's both past, present, and future. So all three of those that make you really want to invest your time and your passion into the NWA. I I could be investing my time anywhere and trying to get to any place that I want to be, but the NWA is where I want to be. And it's like, yeah, like you said, it's the lineage. I mean, thinking about all the greats who have held that title before and have been in that ring before me, the people who work for that company now and represent the NWA, I want to be one of those people. And I think that with such a star-studded cast of wrestlers there now today, I mean, you're setting up for the future to just continue to build and build and get those days back. I think Billy Corgan's done a wonderful job of building the next generation of NWA talent and using you know people who have that name and the older wrestlers to uh, help really solidify the NWA as, this is the real deal. It's not just some random promotion, or we're here to elevate the sport.
Yeah, exactly that. And he has done a great job. And it does go to show now, because when we've seen recently the likes of Colby Carino, Mark Over, and Brian Idol signing contracts with them, and some of them multiple year exclusive contracts, that just
Yeah,
goes to show you where the NWA is now. And it's that serious now that people want to just be there and nowhere else.
absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I've never been in a locker room that welcomed me so quickly. And I mean, there hasn't been a single person in that locker room that has had, a head too big for their shoulders or in any way. Everybody's extremely humble, extremely passionate, and overall, everybody just wants to, you know, create a better environment for the fans and for the people who are there that night and for the wrestlers and the show itself. I mean, it's a very all around experience when you're there.
Yeah, definitely. So my Fiona, so my co-host, she's been to the Crockett Cup. She's been to a few tapings, and she's looking to go to Samhain this year, hopefully. So she's looking to head out there for that. Let's talk the territory, the tapings that happened. Obviously, we don't want to hear what happened. We'll see that when it comes on the CW app. When you were there, and obviously you just hit the nail on the head. The experienced heads, the EC3s, the Aaron Stevenses. We're having Jazz on soon, and she's helped train some of the women on there. Did you get some time to actually talk to those experienced heads? And what, if anything, did you learn that did you come away from that learning more so than ever?
Oh yeah. Um, I can't say I got to talk. I can't remember any specific instances of being able to talk to people. It was a pretty heavily crowded event and a lot going on. It was very fast paced. There's a lot happening. Um, I did get to have a short conversation with Juventud Guerrera, and that was really positive. And that no, I was just really soaking in the experience and learning from Homicide. Just listening to him talk is, I mean, the guy's a genius. He's a wrestling genius, you know. So just being able to, even if it wasn't my match, just standing by and listening to him give his input on anything anyone else was doing, you know, that
Yeah.
was basically my main goal was just ears open everywhere I go.
Yeah, I always say it's like you'd be like a sponge. You just absorb
Yeah,
every little
I was
thing.
ears open every time, man. I just
It seemed like a really good show from the pictures. Obviously, we've seen some pictures online. Again, it didn't give anything away, but it also seemed that there was a big crowd there. There's a fans. That makes it more important as well because sometimes when I first started watching NWA, there were a bit there were smaller arenas and stuff like that. But again, we'll talk about the growth, the bigger one. Samhain last year was a brilliant arena. And forgive me, I can't remember where it was. They done Samhain last year, but the arena was like an auditorium. It was such
yeah.
good.
Last year it was in Cleveland, Ohio. Last year it was right up the road.
Course it will. That's it. Thank you. Brilliant little auditorium building there. But again, that shows you where the company's going. Now you're drawing thousands, not, and that again is just evidence of where NWA are going, and credit to Billy Corgan for that. But also, and I spoke to this with Aaron Stevens and I wanted to chat to you about it. It's obviously on the CW app. NXT is going on the CW app. We know where that's going with TNA at the minute. Would it be even more exciting if we could see some NWA mixing it with well, maybe not so much TNA, but NXT?
Yeah, I didn't even know NXT was going to the CW app.
Yeah,
So
yes,
that yeah, I mean, I would say if there was ever a time that that was going to happen, it would be at that time. Whenever they make that jump to the CW app, I mean, it's wrestling's as inclusive as ever.
exactly. I think that's going. I want to say the fall in America. Over here in the UK, it's going Netflix with Raw. That's we're just having it all on Netflix for next year. But it does think about the potential stuff that could happen. Now they're seeming to be a bit more. They never used to. I don't know. They don't call it doors, but they called it a portal over there. So it seems to be more. They're more open to doing business, so to speak. It would be interesting to see if they do that business. But from you, Ashton, what are your goals coming up? If say, for example, Billy phoned you and said, right, you're in on Power, who would be one of the first guys you'd want to lock it up with on Power?
I would say Joe Alonzo would be probably the first person. I think we'd have instant chemistry. Um, I would love to work with Carson Drake in a one environment. I just worked with him in a six-man tag, and
Yes.
I would love you know, just one on one.
Yeah.
Let's see. I would Carino, as you mentioned him
Yeah.
earlier. Love
Yes.
Colby. Uh, and then I mean, even the Chris Adonis,
Yeah.
Matt Cardona. I mean, there's a lot of people. I mean, there's really nobody there that I wouldn't want to work. But as far as like if Billy came to me like today and said, "Hey, you're on the next power taping," I would say Joe Alonso would be the number one person I think would I think we would elevate each other, you know.
Yeah, definitely so. I mean, he had a great match this week. It was against Jack Cartwheel. And my goodness, that was an incredible, incredible contest. And funnily enough, we had Anthony Katina on yesterday, and he said exactly the same person. You both picked Joe Alonso as your number one guy. The one that he didn't pick, which everybody else has picked, and you didn't pick him either, was Tom Latimer. I know you said you'd work with anybody, but Latimer
Hey,
was.
Tom Latimer's face was in my head. That's for sure. I just didn't say it out loud.
He was. I think Anthony was saying that Latimer's just too. He's got too much. He's got better hair than what he has, or something along those lines. But and he's very tanned as well as Latimer. We're going to start to wrap up, Ashton, now. But as we do this, I mean, we've already mentioned everything you do, Exodus Pro, and you stood around. You've been a championship holder elsewhere. What would it mean to you to grasp either the 10 pounds of gold or the junior heavyweight or even the tag team gold in the NWA? Again, we've mentioned the lineage and everything like that, but how much of that would it mean to you to be holding one of those golds in the future?
I would mean the world to me. I feel like I've spent a good chunk of my life looking for external validation. Um, I guess you could call me a people pleaser, you know, and I have kids and a family, and I have friends and people who I just want to be proud of me. And I have had a lot of people along the way say that I could never be anywhere near where I am now. And I'm nowhere yet. I'm nowhere near where I want to be. But I think it would just be that validation that I'm looking for. Just, hey, if I can do it, you can do it, you know? And that's all I've really, it would just be that validation, I think,
Definitely.
my family I know would be proud of me, my kids, my friends, the people who doubted me and said I would never make it. I made it.
Exactly that. And I'm sure you will definitely do that in the future. But actually, as we wrap up now, tell everybody what have you got coming up? Where can they get hold of you on social media?
So I have in Parma, Ohio, I got Real Shoot Wrestling coming up. That's my next show, July 13th. I have these next 2 weekends off, and I think I'll keep it that way. I think
Yeah.
I'm not, I'm just going to take this time and, rest up. And um, then I have NWA Exodus Pro, the Exodus show on 7/20. I will be in Wisconsin for Frontline Pro, July 27th. Neo Pro Wrestling in Canton on August 17th. I will be in Canada it's actually an NWA affiliated event. I can't remember the word he used to describe how NWA is affiliated with it, but I know EC3 is going to be there, so we'll probably ride together. That'll be really fun. That's in September. So I got some good stuff coming up, and there's a lot of dates in between. I'm probably going to fill after.
Yeah, definitely so. I mean, obviously, the one other question that's before we go, I think NWA needs to get a UK territory, and then we can all come together and have a UK NWA show and bring you guys over here. That would be all shades of awesome. Be down for that, right?
I'm absolutely down for that.
Of course. So, just before we wrap up, I just need to say a quick thing. We've got a show coming up. Yeah, the podcast is teaming up with Ignite Wrestling Pro over here in the UK once again to put on Buckle Up 2 in 3 weeks' time. Our men's championship. We have a men's and a women's championship over here in the UK. Our men's championship will indeed be on the line. The card is stacked. There's about 27 tickets left. You just go to 96.eventbrite, type in Buckle Up 2 and get your tickets. And lastly, Ashton, if you are available for bookings, where can promotions reach out for you?
You can find me across all socials at the Ashton Day. And then my email is theashtonday@gmail.com. And I can be contacted on any social media platform or my email.
There you go. Promoters in the States, promoters worldwide. Ashton is the man to come and fill your bookings up or fill your talent roster up with some star talents from Exodus Pro Wrestling. Ashton, it has been a whirlwind 20 odd minutes talking to you, and it's been fantastic to get to know you a bit better. And we look forward to seeing you in the future, definitely on Exodus Pro where we can catch you, but also in the future when the NWA territory tapings happens. When it comes on the CW app for everyone in America. Over here in the UK, we have to use a VPN. Just get one and you can watch NWA weekly. But until then, Ashton, it has been fantastic. We wish you all the best of luck, and we'll no doubt have you back on in the future, maybe when you're carrying some NWA gold.
Thank you guys for having me. This was awesome.
Thank you, Ashton. Guys, this has been the Ashton Day. I have been your host, Adam Cousins, and you have been watching the NWA Talking Territories show on the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast. Don't forget to follow us at HTT Buckle on X and Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast and all other social media outlets. And until next time, everybody, buckle down, stay safe, and good night.